and let's get right into the first part of the show, which is chatting about shipping comic books. Gem, what is your experience as a comic book collector as far as like the importance of shipping comic books right?
Wow, man, that's a big topic. And I think the first time you realize how important it is when you get shipped something and it has terrible packaging and you have damaged books, flimsy boxes, not enough or not any packing material. So it's super important. And the way that I always looked at it is when I ship something out, how would I want to receive it?
Something that I thought was super intriguing back when I was doing CGC coverage at C2E2 this year, Brittany, shout out, she had mentioned that there was a really good video idea she had, which was like just compiling a list of all the different unique ways individuals in the comic book community have submitted their comic books via shipment to the CGC headquarters in Florida. And I am so excited that they actually did this video and they released it this week. So I want to chat about some of the crazy ways people have shipped comic books to the CGC. And I'll be honest, I've definitely committed some of these crimes here and have submitted some of these books in the ways that they describe. What about you, Jeff?
Well, I mean, first of all, CGC must have received hundreds of thousands of books since they started in 2001. So I could imagine the horror story package jobs that they've received. I've done, I've had to make do with some materials around the house. I'm very interested to hear what CGC has received, though.
Let's save our admission to the end of this list. The first one, though, that we got to talk about is people shipping comics inside a pillow, like an actual pillow you would rest your head on.
A pillow? Well, I don't even understand. A pillow?
Well, see, they didn't put pillowcase. I'm thinking like wrapping it in fabric or something, but no, they actually put a pillow. Like they must have cut open the pillow and then submitted it around, like the feathers and stuff, maybe shove that in a medium flat rate box or something.
Okay, hold on. So if it's in a box, I might be okay with that. Like if you're just like putting it in a pillow and putting a label on the pillow, like that's crazy. But okay, maybe, you had no packing supplies, but I mean, man, you're shipping to CGC. Go get you some bubble wrap or something, man.
Okay, this next one is a hot commodity right now. So there's a number of reasons why you wouldn't want to ship your comic books in this. Keep in mind, comic fam, the books you're submitting for grading, they're the nice ones, Typically, you'd like to think, aside from it being because maybe it's for your PC or something fun, or you just want to have it encapsulated for whatever reason you want, that it's probably because there's some value, some worth. So imagine shipping your comic books in paper towels.
Paper towels. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Now, as packing material, I might could let that slide a little bit. Now, if you're just wrapping it in paper towels, again, slapping a label on top, that doesn't really make sense.
It's a rough one, but it does give it some padding. So I'll give the person the benefit of the doubt for wrapping their comics in paper towels, because if you do it enough, it's going to hit the corners and it'll protect it from those hard blunted edges if the USPS or UPS drop it. What about this next one, okay? This is a weird one. Have you ever done this? Don't admit it yet. Comic fan, put it in the comment section below if you've done any of these things. We want to hear from you. A pool cue. Like those floaty things?
Oh, a pool noodle?
Pool noodle, yeah.
Pool noodle, okay. Okay. Hold on. Because I have done this.
Oh, you did it. I told you not to tell anybody. You've done it. You've admitted one. You've done this.
Hold on, wait a minute. If you cut a pool noodle in half and you put it on the edge, okay, for raw books, maybe if you do a bundle of raw books, I think I've done it with a slab before. And I think it was probably well protected because you're putting on the edge of the slabs in like a medium flat rate box. But for raw books to submit to CGC, pool noodle as packing material?
I imagine, maybe around the edges of the comic book, maybe if there was some cardboard holding it there, that's how it would be done. But yeah, I mean, at least that your package would float. That's a thing.
If it gets lost at sea, your books will stay at the top of the water.
Okay, not just getting lost at sea, though. What if it gets cold outside? People have submitted their comic books inside a sweater.
Man. I mean, are you wasting a good sweater? Is it cashmere? What are we doing here? Is it an old discarded sweater?
It's kind of like along the lines of the first one on the list, like the pillowcase. We're talking like clothing material, assuming these were all packaged and not just like someone wrapped their comics in a sweater and put the label on top. you know.
Yeah, guys, think about it. People at CGC are unboxing these and receiving these and like, what the heck? Pool noodle, pillowcases or pillows or sweaters.
What do you think it's like when they get this in, they open that medium flat rate or that box and the people say they open it up, they're like, oh my gosh, what they send us? There's like more newspaper in here than there is comics, which is another one on this list here, newspaper.
Okay, but newspaper as packing material, it depends on the context, right? Because if you have like a bundle of well secured raw books, you have it in surrounded like in a cardboard sandwich, and you're putting it in a box and packing it with like crumpled newspaper, I'm okay with that.
Gem, you make a lot of fresh content. People say that all the time about you. And part of the reason why people use that terminology, fresh, is because it's important to keep things, you know, clean, new. You know, it's a good feeling when something's brand new, which is why I think people have submitted their comic books in Tupperware.
Tupperware?
Yeah, straight up Tupperware. You know, like
Okay.
maybe glass Tupperware, plastic Tupperware, rubber.
Well, it is the only one with the freshness seal.
It's true. It's true, man.
But, you know, I can't defend this one. I don't understand. Are you putting a pile of books into some Tupperware and then putting that in a box? I mean, they're still going to shuffle around inside the Tupperware.
Yeah, like what's gonna... Is they putting some? I got to know more information, CGC. Like you're opening a can of worms here. What is the story behind these books? What books were they associated with? Like there's more to this, but I digress because it also says here that people have packed their comic books, whether it be inside or maybe used like around the edges of the comic books, plastic bottles.
No, see, now you're doing too much. Although, hold on, although we're recycling, we're reusing material that would have otherwise been discarded.
Environmentally friendly.
It's very environmental. But now CGC, I hope they recycled it afterwards.
That's true. That's true. You know they do. They're very health conscious over there, reducing, reusing, you know. Now that we are in this like pandemic, people are really going out of their way to make sure that, you know, they're washing their hands and that they're staying clean and that they're, you know, going above and beyond to try to like limit the spread of things. And a lot of people are wearing scrubs. There's shout out to the medical professionals right now who are saving the country. Freaking awesome. But did you know that some of these medical professionals wrapped up their comics in scrubs and submitted them to the CGC in Florida?
No, see, that's not even sanitary. Are they new scrubs? Are they washed?
I'm assuming they're new. I'm assuming that they're at least washed at the very least. Like, don't be sending CGC stuff that's like dangerous, you know? This list isn't like that. This is more of just, hey, shoot, I gotta submit my expensive comics and I don't have anything else to use.
No, I can't defend that. Medical scrubs, like, please go get a roll of bubble wrap. It's at Walmart. It's like $12. That's not necessary.
Comic fam, you think this list is done yet, but no, it keeps going. You know, like that Pink Panther insulation that you use for the walls. You see it at Home Depot. Like I remember when I was a kid, my dad would say like, you got to use gloves with that because there's like shards of stuff in there. You got to be careful. You know, you sure as hell don't want to touch it. You don't want other people to touch it, but you also, I don't imagine you want to put your like expensive comics next to it because people like use that as stuffing insulation in their box to protect their comics.
What is that, asbestos?
Asbestos. It could be, man. You don't want to inhale that asbestos. No, but it's like, this is real stuff, man. This is real stuff. Like, what do you have like any like off the cuff bad experiences with shipping comics like that you remember? Dude, you've shipped so many statues and probably have received a lot of statues that have had issues.
Well, luckily with statues, we typically save the original packaging, the original styrofoam and the brown shipper box. I do remember, though, receiving a box. It was comics, and it was shipped in a cereal box without any kind of wrapping around it. Just a cereal box with a label on it. Here's your comics.
Dude, one of my first eBay purchases that I got before I had ever sold a comic book ever on the internet, I'm talking over a decade ago, was a Captain Crunch Berries that came in. And I thought it was the craziest thing that there was like $100 comic book put in there. But it does happen, which is why this video was created. You know, we're shipping a lot of stuff throughout the month, but this is a big part of the process when it comes to this comic book hobby. And I appreciate CGC being honest because they didn't just go through these crazy things for like no reason. No, they wanted to showcase a product that they put to the public, which is their CGC shipping kits, which is just a box that you get shipped to you to be able to package your comic books in to be shipped back to them in the safest possible way. Have you seen these?
Yeah, I have seen it, and I thought it was a really good idea. I love anytime you see a company or just anybody being innovative or finding a problem and creating a solution. So for them to know that there's a lack of proper shipping techniques and provide people with little kits to submit their books, I thought that was a genius idea, and I thought it was really cool that they decided to run with that.
Not a sponsored ad or anything like that. This is something I found super interesting, kind of, letting us know what goes on at the company. And I think it's fun to know this information, but it's a good reminder to the community to ship your comics well and to see like what companies are doing for you so that you can have the peace of mind knowing that you don't have to hunt down stuff in your home to package your expensive collectibles in. No, we know that you want to keep them safe, which is why they saved the best thing for last. Can you imagine somebody taking their nice comic book gem, running out of ideas, man? Like this right here is absolutely like, I have nothing else in my home. What do I do? But maybe it's maybe there was a newborn. I think that this person that did this, they recently had a child. So shout out to the newborns and to the new fathers out there and the mothers who are submitting comics for grading. But you should never do this one next thing, comic fam, which is submit your comics in diapers.
I knew where you were going with this. With diapers, first of all, that's wasteful. Diapers are expensive. Maybe I could see if you have a toddler or a baby that's growing out of that size of diapers, but I'm sure you could donate that or something to pack them as packing material for comics that another human being has to unpack. That's uncalled for.
Comic fam, how do you package your comic books? Have you picked up any of these CGC shipping kits from their website? I'll put the link in the description so you can check those out. I'll also put the CGC's Instagram link in the description so you can be following them. Aside from putting out really cool content like this, I like seeing this. What do you think about seeing this kind of content on their page, Gem?
I think it's awesome, and I think it goes to show you that they didn't come up with this kit because they wanted to make money. It's like, look, we have received the craziest packages, and I'm sure people at cons tell them all the time, hey, I don't really know how to ship my comics the right way. What's the best way to do it? So I love to see the side of them and the reasoning why they decided to do things like this comic submission kit. I think it's really cool.
And sometimes your boy does exclusive content with the CGC on their page. So you're going to want to be following them there for some content that you're not going to see on our channels.